Hey guys, M2 Collector here with another figure review. And I know it's been a few days, almost a week since I've done a video, and I figured, you know what, I gotta get to it because I got a bunch of stuff and there's a bunch of things coming up. Like Comic-Con is coming up, so I gotta be able to get through these figures as quickly as possible. So we got 4 in 1 for you guys here today. We've got the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, the Deluxe Theatrical Edition of Superman and Krypto. So you can see we got Superman, we got Krypto. This is the one that comes with multiple faces that all basically look the same. I will take a look at the subtle differences. He's got the soft goods cape on there. So this is the deluxe version. You get the artwork there. Then we're going to take a look at the Deluxe Theatrical Edition of the Superman robot, robot number 4. I'm going to try and avoid spoilers from the movie. The movie was fantastic. If you liked it, please say something in the comments. I want to try and stay away from spoilers, but I might let a couple of things drop. But just so you know, I really enjoyed the movie, and I'm excited to see what is going to be coming in the new DC universe. So there we go. So Superman Robot, big shout out and thank you to my buddy Spawn Toys 209 who actually picked this up for me at a Walmart because I have not been able to find him. I tried. I didn't have any luck. And then here, we've got the 2 Ultraman releases. We've got the regular release, which is all in the purple there. And then we have the deluxe release here. Deluxe. Battle Damage release exclusive, which is the gold label exclusive to Walmart. So I was able to find that. The Ultraman and the Superman I got from Big Bad Toy Store. And I think Ultraman is still in stock and Lex Luthor might be in stock. Superman definitely sold out that day. I saw it was in stock. I'm like, order. And I ordered it right away. So we're going to take a look at this. It's not going to be a super in-depth review, but we will talk about the figures. Primarily probably going to talk about this one because I'm very excited about this because I think he just looks the best. And then obviously we're going to be talking about David Corenswet, Superman there. So let's go ahead and get to these figures. I'm going to open them all up and let's go ahead and take a look at them. Okay, I'm trying to think of the best way to do these figures, and we'll probably do kind of one at a time. We'll do Superman and Krypto, we'll do the Superman robot, and then we'll tackle the Ultraman figures together, since they're essentially the same thing. It's just the deco that's going to be different between the two. So let's go ahead and kind of get into it. So again, focusing on Superman and Krypto first, then the Superman robot, then the Ultraman. So let's start off with Superman. Okay, here's the Superman figure, and I realized that, hey, there's no face on this guy. It's because I'm ready to kind of swap them out. There's 4 total faces. This one is obviously the most noticeable because you got like the heat vision, laser eyes, the red paint around there. And that looks pretty good. I like the way that looks. I will put that on the figure here pretty soon. This is the regular face here, and I only know that because of a slight paint defect in the chin and then along the jawline. Then you have this face sculpt here, and I feel like these are so close that it's hard to tell the difference. And I think it might be in the shape of the mouth. This one almost looks a little bit more hopeful, whereas this one kind of just looks a little bit more straight face. Not necessarily serious, but a little bit more straight face. So regular out of the package, and then kind of a little bit more, not even serious, because this is the serious one. Now I know these also look similar, but you could tell in the wrinkles between his eyebrows, he's kind of making a serious face, like, squinting his face, I guess you could say, however you say it, but that's the difference there. You see just the wrinkles just above the nose. So it's kind of crazy the difference is there. So again, let's kind of start with it. We're going to go, this is the regular head on there, right? And I feel like, is this one kind of the happy one? It's just so hard to tell, but this is the one out of the package because, again, those paint defects. To pull it off, you just kind of pull from under the chin, and then here we'll swap in. We've got the heat vision laser eyes there, and that looks pretty good. Nice red paint in there. Pop that out, and we're going to go the more serious with the little squinted look right in his, right in his kind of his forehead in there. I'm trying to do this to where it doesn't, the hair curl. There, as you can see, it looks a little bit more serious in there. I think you could see it, again, just in the wrinkles right there on the forehead, just above the nose. And then this one, again, which you can't tell much of a difference between these head sculpts. It's just so crazy that they're like that. So you get this one. See, this one, it's just kind of straight face looking. The one out of the package is one that looks a little bit more hopeful, a little bit more happy, some form of emotion, where this one just kind of looks the most emotionless to me. They're very similar though, and to me, there was no point in giving us these 3 faces that they're so similar. I just don't think it was necessary. But hey, more accessories the better, I would say. The other accessories, we also get a pair of flight hands. So you have these here, nice sculpted detail in the wrinkles of the fingers and the hands and everything, like in the palms and stuff there. Because out of the package, you get a fist and an open like grip hand, which could have been good, like if you had a baby Joey to grip or something. That's not a spoiler. You can see that in the trailer. And then, of course, he comes with Krypto. Krypto has a soft goods cape on there as well. It's got the same S logo there. It's a static little piece of plasticky rubber. There's some paint detail, kind of yellowish paint in there, because like underneath is just a bright white paint, whereas on the sides you can see a little bit of yellowing just to kind of bring out the details of the fur. He's got one ear up because in the movie, basically, he has one ear like that. He's got the collar on there. Does the head swivel? The head kind of swivels a little bit. In there, that's the only articulation you're going to get. The legs are pretty rubbery, as you can see there. So that's Superman. Looking at the suit, we get some nice detailed sculpted lines in the suit, and the texture of the suit and everything like that is good. We get the S logo on the back of the cape. We got the soft goods cape. Remember, the regular release does not come with the soft goods cape. It comes with the big, heavy plastic cape. It's the deluxe theatrical release that has the soft goods cape. That looks pretty good there. So there is the David Corenswet, Superman, and Krypto, the deluxe theatrical release. Let's go ahead and jump on over into the Superman robot. Okay, so here we have the Superman robot. Superman robot's probably my favorite figure out of these, but he definitely still has his problems, but he is a lot of fun. In terms of the accessories, looking at the hands, he's got a fist for the left, he's got a finger-pointing hand for his right, he also comes with a thumbs up for the left, and a gripish hand, like a trigger finger hand, for his right. He doesn't have a gun or anything like that. So, 2 hands, and then he's got 3 extra faces, so this is just kind of the wide open face. And to be honest with you, I don't really remember kind of when he adjusts his eyes or his visor piece or anything, but there's this one, so you can see it's fully open. He's got his one like singular eye in there, and then he has this one, and I think this is one where the engineer and Lex break into these Fortress of Solitude. I feel like his visor like closes up so he can like scan or do something. I think that's what that look was. So we have that. The cool thing is when you have these, you can have, if you buy multiples of this figure, then you can kind of change it up and you can have different robots and stuff, even though they all say 4. You have this one here, so that's kind of squinted down a little bit, kind of at the most, and then the last one, it's squinted down a little bit compared to that first one where it was fully open. So you got fully open, squinted a little bit, squinted a lot, and then closed. Very subtle differences. I don't know that they were all that important either. I think an accessory that would have made the most sense is a swappable chest plate. So like here 4, and 4 is the, I don't want to say most important, because if I'm being completely honest with you guys, the Superman robots do not play a very big role in the film. Yes, there's some interesting, funny stuff or whatever, but still not a very big part of the film. I thought there was going to be, the Superman robots were going to have a much larger role in the movie, and they just didn't. And that's okay. They didn't need to have one. I just thought it was interesting. But swappable plates, because there's, I think, there's up to 12 of the robots, and all we get is number 4. 4 is the one with the most screen time. That's the one voiced by Alan Tudyk, so I get it. So that makes sense, but that would have made more sense than the swappable heads. And then the articulation on this guy is weird. When we get to the articulation, I'm going to talk about it, because the arm, you see how the arm is kind of turned in here at the elbow? There's no swivel anywhere. So it's just kind of frustrating to kind of work with, and I just don't get it. The same with like the ankle, you could swivel at the whole leg. It's just weird in my opinion. The sculpt of it looks fantastic though. Like, just look at that. I think it looks great. And you get a couple of shades of blue in here. You get like kind of this darker metallic blue in there, and then this lighter metallic blue. It almost, man, it might be even 3 shades. Like here, like one dark, the darkest, and then a kind of a medium, and then this grayish color in there too. So that is really cool. And then just kind of the inner workings of it all. It just looks nice. It's just the functionality of the figure is going to be a bit weird, but I just, that's something I'll need to go over in the articulation part of the video. But that's the Superman robot. Again, he is definitely my favorite. It's too bad that he is a red platinum. Red platinum means not necessarily rare, but red platinum is one that you won't be able to find online. Like, it'll come in the cases, the assortment cases, but you won't find these online. So that's something that you're going to have to find in store. So not all Targets carry the Deluxe Theatrical releases, even though Deluxe Theatrical is essentially the same as Collector's Edition. They're labeled differently, and the Superman Strange Lives of Superman is in the same case assortment as the Deluxe Theatrical, even though it comes up as the Deluxe Theatrical DPCI, not the Collector's Edition DPCI. So it's all weird. So the assortment, Target has gotten a assortment that has the Strange Lives of Superman comic figure and the Platinum Chase variant. It had not even Ultraman. It had the Mr. Terrific Red Platinum. Oh, it did have a robot Platinum. I'm sorry, my apologies. Yes, Target did have the assortment, which had one Superman, I think one Mr. Terrific, one movie Superman, and then the 2 Strange Lives of Superman, or 3. I think it was like 2 or 3 of the comic. The assortment's all weird, but Walmart got a big like shipper thing that they made end caps and electronics, and this guy was in there. So that's how you get it. It's hard to get. This is one people are going to want to army build it. Why would you make it a short case, short packed, and why would you make it a red platinum? People would buy these things like crazy online if they could. That was just a weird decision, in my opinion. But hey, what do I know? Okay, so now we're going to take a look at Ultraman. These figures are the exact same. The Battle Damage is the Walmart exclusive. I got it because I think it's cool. What I was really hoping for is that I was really going to love the character in the movie and just think he was super interesting and just kind of a badass. And I was like, man, I'm going to want that figure because I think he's going to be cool. And there's 2 different versions. I got to get both because it's going to be cool. Here's where we might get into some spoiler stuff. I won't say exactly who Ultraman is. I will say I was a bit disappointed. My expectations were not high, so I wasn't like super disappointed. It did not affect my enjoyment of the movie, again, which I really, really like. I love the movie, actually. But don't go in expecting some huge, oh my god, revelation on Ultraman. Just don't. So anyway, looking at the figure, it's cool. I like the darker colors of this Ultraman. Like in the movie, he was not a bright purple like this. Was he a purple color? Yeah, I would say more of this darker purple that you see on the battle damaged version. And, they naturally just made this figure a darker purple because, yeah, you get a lot of, paint added in for the wear and tear and the dirtiness or whatever, but the parts that don't get the additional paint are definitely a darker purple. So this one seems to be just more movie accurate in terms of coloring than this guy. This guy is a very bright purple, like very, very bright purple. It's just, again, not as bright in the movie. I really like the suit, although I don't like it for Ultraman. When you think of Ultraman from the comics and alternate universe Superman, he didn't have this crazy different looking suit or a mask or anything like that. In this movie, we do. And it is what it is, but I do like it. But this doesn't scream Ultraman to me. But watch the movie. It all makes sense in the movie. It's just, again, don't have too high of expectations. But the sculpted detail of it looks pretty good. We'll get into the articulation a little bit later. The accessories that he comes with, and then keep in mind this is the Deluxe Theatrical Edition. These figures to me don't really scream deluxe. Like you can make the argument that there's soft goods on Superman and the Superman robot. Could it be deluxe? And you get one extra set of hands. You get swappable faceplates. Could it be deluxe? Yeah, you can kind of fudge it. In my opinion, it's a little pricey. These guys come with 1, 2, 3 extra sets of hands, and that is considered deluxe. To me, that's not deluxe pricing. That's not worth it. These figures are high priced for what they are. I don't agree with the price, but the price is the price. If you want to get it, you have to pay the price unless you wait for a sale or a clearance or whatever. So just a heads up on that. So out of the package, they have just these wide open hands here that are just kind of relaxed, as you can see there. They come with an additional set of hands. Or hands, duh. Of course, 3 sets of hands, but fists. Then you get like these clawed grip hand type of deals. And then you get like grip hands. Not quite, kind of trigger finger, but not trigger finger, so you get these grip hands. So those 3 extra sets of hands. The battle damage version comes with those same exact hands. But as the figure is battle damaged and has a lot of wear and tear paint and things like that, so do these hands. So looking at the difference between the hands, here is the regular release there, nice and clean cut. You get some silver added in, silver, armor pieces added into those gloves. And then the battle damage, as you can see there, they're dirty. So that is cool that they went the extra step, fully painted, additional paint to show the dirtiness of the battle damage version. So that's what we got going on there. So you don't have to worry about mixing up your hands or anything, because that is the big difference there. You don't really see a whole lot of purple in the battle damaged hands, except for just kind of the tips of the gloves. And that kind of goes along with all of them there. So that is the difference between the two. So now let's go ahead and check out the articulation on all 4 of these figures. Oh, I do want to call this out before I forget, because I think this is a nice little detail. His goggles, focus, his goggles are cracked in there. They added some cracked paint in there to show that, you know, the damage isn't just that he's dirty. He's got damaged goggles in there. So I think that's a really nice touch, because that's something that can easily kind of be overlooked. I mean, you know, the white little lines in there you can see, but again, nice little touch. Okay, let's do our articulation. Now, McFarlane toys, in my opinion, they're not known for their articulation, so he is going to be limited, just a heads up on that. Like, you have a character that flies around, but you're not going to be able to really get him into too many flight poses because he can't look up. So that's how much he's going to look up there. So that's not a whole lot. So think of flying, and that's not really going to work. Can you lean him back? Sure, you could do a little bit of that, but it's not as good as I feel like it should be. You get some rotation in there, and then you can kind of pivot on that neck, as you can see there. The arms, you can get the arm to go straight on out like so. You get a full rotation in there. We do have not really. So you have the faux butterfly joint, where it's just a plastic ring that fills in the gap of like a long peg, which allows a little bit of movement in here. We actually don't get a lot of that movement, and maybe that ring is kind of stationary. I can't really get it to move. Maybe it's not the ring so much like on other figures. But that's interesting there. You have an upper bicep swivel in there. You get a double jointed elbow, gives you that much bend there at the elbow. Wrists swivel and they hinge. It's like a ball joint. I don't know if I can get that hinge to really turn any which way though. So it just kind of hinges up, hinges down on there. We have a diaphragm cut on there, and then a ball joint waist. So the diaphragm cut itself doesn't allow for a whole lot of tilt either way. There's some, but with the ball joint waist, you can get Superman to tilt to his left that much. You can get him to tilt to his right that much there. Leaning back is a little bit, as you can see there, and then coming forward is very, very, very little. As you can see there, it's just not a whole lot. You could swivel at that diaphragm. You cannot. You can. It's difficult. You can swivel at the waist as well. So just a heads up on that. But it's a little bit more difficult to twist at that waist. Legs go out that far apart. A lot of people refer to like the hip piece as the diaper piece for McFarlane, because it's made of a rubber material, which allows you to do stuff like this. So you can do the full splits in there. He can kick forward that far, so not too bad there. The leg does go back quite a ways, which is good. There is no thigh swivel turn whatsoever in there. You can't fudge it. You can't do any of that. So just a heads up on that. A double jointed pinned knee gives you that much bend at the knee. There is no boot swivel, but there is a ankle swivel in there, and then you can hinge down quite a ways. You can hinge up a little bit. There's a good ankle pivot in there, and then you get toe articulation, and you have peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So that is the articulation for Superman. Krypto, again, you can just kind of swivel the head a little bit. Not sure if it's actually meant to swivel. You could just move it a little bit. Otherwise, no articulation in there. The Superman robot, while my favorite, he is very limited. So the head, you could swivel around, and you can kind of look down that much. You can't really look up, which is weird. And then you can't tilt the head to the side, really. You can come forward, but it's weird. Like, I can't turn it to the side, but if I go down, I could turn it a little bit. I could tilt it a little bit, but if it's straight up, you cannot get it to tilt. It's just really weird how they kind of did it in there, but you can swivel all the way around at the base of the neck is where that works. The arms, you could see it's just a big old kind of gaping hole in there for this elbow with the long peg bar in there, and then there's a hinge right here, so that shoulder you can get to kind of move around freely in there a little bit, and then there is a hinge at the shoulder, which would then allow you to get the arm to go out that far. That's not a whole lot. You can do a full rotation in there, which is great, and then you also get a single jointed elbow, gives you that much bend at the elbow, so that's not bad. Double joint would be nice, but what I really wish, again, if there was some kind of swivel somewhere, like the sculpt of it makes sense, like just throw a peg in there and have a swivel at the elbow. That would have been perfect. There's just a swivel for the hands, by the way. There's no hinge. There's no hinge because you can see the hands are just a peg. But man, that really just kind of bothers me because the arm is turned inward, but there's no swivel to kind of make it straight out, and it just kind of drives me nuts in there. You get a swivel up here at the top on that diaphragm, which is great, and it's kind of ratcheted, so you can feel the clicks on it. It doesn't have any kind of tilt to the left or tilt to the right or anything like that, so you could just swivel it around. You have an ab crunch here at the bottom, just above the waist. You can actually see the gear portion in there, which is really cool, so you can get him to tilt back all the way that much there. And then come forward, you don't feel any ratcheting coming forward, which is weird. It's just when you get him to kind of stand up straight and lean back, you can feel the ratcheting. But forward, it's free moving, but with friction. It's not loose, like it won't just fall on its own, but it doesn't click. You don't feel any clicks. So he can come forward that much there. So not too bad. Again, swivel at that upper diaphragm. And then the legs in here. So you actually do get a thigh swivel in there. So hey, we got thigh swivel on a McFarlane figure, so that is really cool. You got a hinge in there on that leg, so you could do the full splits. Not too bad there. It's ratcheted, so that's pretty good. You get the leg to kick back really far, and you can get the leg to kick out really far, so that is nice. And then you get a single joint at the knee. Double would have been better, but I'll take a single since the legs are very thin. So that is good there. But there's no turn at the leg anywhere else, so you have to turn the entire leg. I wish there was like a calf swivel or lower leg swivel, or even ankle swivel would be nice. So there's no ankle swivel, but you can hinge the foot all the way down, hinge it all the way up, and then there's somewhat of an ankle pivot, and you got peg holes at the bottom of the feet. No toe articulation on the Superman robots. And then of course soft goods cape with the bendy wire on the outsides, which I did forget to mention on Superman. Of course you do get the bendy wire on the outsides of the cape. Krypto has no bendy wire. So that is the Superman robot. Again, still my favorite figure of the wave. Even if the arm situation drives me crazy, I still really like it because I think he looks fantastic. And then the Ultraman figures. The Ultraman figures are going to be the same. So we're not gonna go over each one individually. So we'll go over the regular release. His head, he cannot look up at whatsoever. Can't get him to look up. Can't really get him to look down a whole lot. A little bit, not a lot. You get a rotation in that head. You could swivel. No pivot. Yeah, you can get some pivot, neck pivot going in there, so that's good. The arm you can get to go straight out like so. And here's where that faux butterfly joint in there. Again, this is just a plastic ring to kind of fill in the space, so you can kind of adjust the arm around a little bit in there. Like you can't get it to go back. You can't really do crossbody or anything like that. So it doesn't really serve a purpose other than filling in a gap. You have upper bicep swivel in there, double jointed pinned elbow, gives you that much bend at the elbow, and then the wrists swivel. And they do hinge this. Let's see, can I swivel this wrist hinge? Can I get a swivel so I can hinge it a different way? Yes, so the ball joint can swivel around so you can hinge it whichever way you're going to need, so that's good. We get the diaphragm cut on there and the ball joint waist, so you working both of them together, you can get Ultraman to tilt to his left that much, you can get him to tilt to his right that much, you can lean back that much there, and then coming forward is not a whole lot, only that much there. You could swivel at that waist, you could swivel at the diaphragm. There, legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that far there, which is good. The leg goes back quite a ways, as you can see there. There's a little bit of turn in that thigh. Not a huge amount, but there is a little bit in there. And then double jointed knee gives you that much bend there at the knee. No boot swivel or calf swivel or anything, but you do get a nice ankle swivel in there. You can hinge down quite a ways. You can hinge up quite a ways. You got ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet, and then you do get toe articulation for Ultraman. So there we go. Yeah, they're still pretty limited in articulation, but again, McFarlane Toys is not known for their points of articulation. Okay, so our side-by-side comparisons, we can take a look. You can see Ultraman is a little bit taller, a little bit bulkier than Superman. His legs are a lot thicker, and that just could be the padding of the suit, but he definitely looks taller. The Superman robot is pretty tall, not quite as tall as Superman, so you got those comparisons there. Oh, let me throw in Krypto for a little bit of comparison's sake in there. You can see how big Krypto is. I think size-wise, Krypto is about right. So no issues there. But those are side-by-side comparisons. I do not have Lex Luthor. I do not have Mr. Terrific. I kind of want to get Mr. Terrific because you know what? Mr. Terrific was the MVP of the movie. If you've watched it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, I promise you're going to come out liking Mr. Terrific. And I've seen a bunch of Mr. Terrific figures. Like, nobody was buying him, which is unfortunate because, again, he was awesome in the movie. Awesome. So the big question is Henry Cavill Superman, Snyder Superman, or James Gunn, David Corenswet Superman. I absolutely love Henry Cavill's Superman, and I love David Corenswet's Superman. Both very different takes on Superman, but really enjoyed both. So in a perfect world, we'd have a great Henry Cavill Superman movie. I still enjoy Man of Steel. I understand that there's problems with that movie. But David Corenswet's the new DCU James Gunn Superman. Really good movie, and I can't wait to see more David Corenswet as Superman. Henry Cavill was my favorite and is likely still going to be my favorite, but David Corenswet did a really good job as Clark Kent and Superman. Okay, so that's my review of the DC Multiverse by McFarlane Toys, the deluxe theatrical versions of Superman and Krypto, Ultraman and the Ultraman Battle Damaged Gold Label Walmart exclusive, and the Red Platinum Superman robot there. So McFarlane Toys, you know, they are what they are. They use a much harder plastic, which I'm not the biggest fan of. The hip piece is kind of that rubber diaper piece. It ends up looking a bit funky sometimes, but overall, it's cool to get figures based on, you know, the characters that you like, movies that you like, that sort of thing. So that's why I was happy to get, you know, Superman and Ultraman and the Superman robot, which looks fantastic. I just wished, you know, a little bit more points of articulation in the arms. But it is what it is on the figures. The much harder plastic is a little bit difficult, and the articulation is limited. The sculpt of these figures is really good though. So that's where like McFarlane Toys really shines, because the sculpt work is crazy. Like on Ultraman, it's kind of insane. And then the details of like the battle damage, where it just, you know, ends up being dirty almost everywhere on the figure, which is kind of insane. So it's kind of really some cool stuff going on there. Again, it's just the harder plastic that's difficult. If you made it this far, you know, I've tried basically to kind of avoid spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, I would say turn away now. I am going to discuss spoilers now. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler wise, something that I wanted to try is I wanted to pop this head off of Ultraman, and I wanted to pop this head off of Superman and see if this works. And I feel like it doesn't work. That sucks. The opening on Superman is a lot smaller than Ultraman, so you can't really do that. And not that it would be perfect by any means, because, you know, Superman's got short hair and Ultraman didn't. So that kind of sucks there. But that's too bad. But I really enjoyed the movie. Hopefully you guys have. If you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. If you haven't seen it and you're still here on the spoiler, that's kind of crazy. But that's the DC Multiverse, the theatrical deluxe figures for the new Superman movie. I really liked it. You guys let me know what you guys think of the figures down in the comments below. Check out Big Bad Toy Store for, I think, Ultraman and Lex Luthor is in stock, and then you can get like the Metamorpho and some of those other figures, and then like the Kaiju figure, all of that. So check out bigbadtoystore.com. I'll have a link, if I can find it, to the Walmart exclusive gold label Ultraman. If I can find the link, I'll have that in the video description below. Hopefully, I don't think he's available online, but maybe you could use it to try and locate one in store or something. But you guys give me your thoughts on these figures down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.